Alright guys, diecastmania here with another video, and today we're going to be doing a model review of the Ertl 150th scale high detail series John Deere 400D articulated dump truck. Now, these trucks that you see in front of you were produced by Ertl from around 2008 to around 2012 or so. Maybe even into 2013 before Ertl discontinued these and offered the newer 460E series articulated dump truck. But anyway, these were from the period of time when Ertl produced trucks with not only John Deere markings but Bell markings. That's because the D series and prior series of articulated dump trucks that were sold as John Deere's were actually produced by Bell in South Africa. Now, so this machine in real life at that certain time, starting in 2002, you could actually buy this as a Hitachi AH400, a Deere 400D, or a B40D Bell. Now, eventually the whole marketing deal kind of changed around that only certain models would be sold in certain territories, such as the Hitachi was no longer offered in America and was offered in Australia, New Zealand. The Bell would be for other parts of the world, and the John Deere was for the North American market. Now, there are two versions of this truck, the right being the older version and the left being the newer version. Ertl also produced the B40D Bell, and that is actually closer to this one. Paint-wise, the paint on the Bell trucks is pretty much the same, except for the decals, obviously. And the Bell would not have had these rubber mud flaps on them. So that's really the difference between the Bell and the John Deere. I know Northcott produced a Bell B40 as well, but that one was a little bit different. I think they're entirely different castings. I believe on the Northcott the cab does not tilt, and some of the details are a little bit different, but I'll get to that in another video. So anyway, these are 40-ton capacity articulated dump trucks, particularly used in large earth moving or some kind of mining applications, or just some kind of site that has really adverse conditions that are not suitable for on-road trucks or rigid frames. So they're articulated dump trucks simply because they articulate in the middle, and all 6 wheels are powered and they have differentials that they can be locked and unlocked, so on and so forth. So these can go through some pretty rough terrain. So anyway, Ertl produced a low detail series, 400D, starting in 2003, from one of the first years of the real machine. But anyway, so this is the older version. The older version has smaller graphics, and as you can see, it's not... This is the newer one, has the gray background. The older one is just the yellow with the smaller Deere logo. And just pretty much all the Deere graphics on this one are a lot smaller, and it's actually Deere spelled out on the front compared to the actual Deere logo there. So anyway, the older versions seem to be a little tighter on the articulation. The turning seems to be just about the same on both. They're pretty tight articulation, but the actual problem comes with the joint on the newer versions. It's pretty sloppy, just like the Motorite A40s, Volvos. But anyway, on with the review. We have a nicely detailed underside with actual working suspension, which is a really nice feature. And you can display this as a tipped rock truck if you had a less than experienced operator in there. But as you can see, bed goes up nice and far and dumps. Has these very nice rubber mud flaps. And that little silver hose is the simulated heated bed feature. We have a red hydraulic, not hydraulic, but safety lock to keep the bed up when someone's working on it. The exhaust here, this whole piece is plastic. Obviously it's an Ertl, so the handrails are a little bit thick, and the mirrors as well, but still, this is one of Ertl's finer models. We have a cab protection on the back there that's not perforated. The cab tilts and the engine compartment opens, so you can see a Detailed 413 horsepower 6-cylinder Mercedes OLM 501 LA diesel engine. It's one of the nicer engines in an Ertl model. And you can see part of the mechanical and the transmission parts under there, I believe. So that's nice. The cab is decently detailed. Not the greatest, but not the worst either. You know, you can see everything in there that needs to be in there. And not a whole lot under here, but there is some detail to an extent. And here on the front we can see the grille, the lights, air intake and cleaner. Nice anti-slip texture detail painted on. Nice rubber tires with a good tread on them. The only downside is that the hubs are actually plastic, and like all the plastic parts on this model, you can just pick them right off and they don't match with the paint at all. But that might be just because of age, who knows. But that's another shot of the underside. And a nice feature is the details like these little lights back here. So it's a nice model. It's one of Ertl's finer models, like I said earlier. It's a really nice piece if you can find them. They originally retailed for around $30, although they can go as high as $50 these days. But anyway, there you go. That is the John Deere 1/50th scale 400D articulated dump truck made by Ertl in the high detail series. So anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching.